Hello, I'm Carter, the Friendly Penguin, and today we're going to be talking about James Gunn's Superman. Now, just to preface this, I am obviously a major Superman fan. Superman is one of my top 5 favorite superheroes, one of my favorite characters in all of fiction. I love Superman. I love his optimism. I love the hope he represents. I love everything about him. The first half of this video is going to be spoiler free, so if you have not seen the movie, feel free to stick around. I will give a warning and a little timestamp on when to come back as soon as I'm done talking about the spoilers. Here's my general review of the movie. Superman is one of the best superhero movies I have ever seen. Is it the best superhero movie that's ever been made? Debatable. I don't know if it is. I don't know if it's not. It's certainly one of my favorite ones. It is action-packed. It is fun. It is optimistic. And most importantly, it is clearly a love letter. James Gunn clearly understands Superman. David Corenswet clearly understands Superman. While we're on the topic of David Corenswet, I always want to say Cornsweat, and that feels mean. Corenswet. David Corenswet clearly understands Superman. He did a phenomenal job of, one, distincting between Clark Kent and Superman, but in those, some of my favorite scenes were the scenes when it was just between him and Lois, where the facades of Superman and Clark Kent sort of meld, and it's just who he is as the man. Speaking of Lois, Rachel Brosnahan does an amazing job as Lois Lane. She is quick, she is steadfast, and I love how she challenges Clark. She is not just enamored with Superman like in the original Superman the movie. She clearly respects and admires Clark, but she's not afraid to push back and to make her opinions known. And there's a certain scene in the movie which that really highlights that tension between them. In general, the rest of the cast did a phenomenal job. I did not think there was a single bad performance in this movie. Everyone played their roles perfectly. And not just their own roles, I loved the chemistry in this movie. All of the characters had this great rapport, and it made you feel like you stepped into this world. It did not feel like an introductory movie at all. Outside of the performances, I also loved the design of this movie. It is bright, it is colorful, it is not afraid to look a little bit goofy, and it really felt like you were just watching a comic book. Speaking of goofiness, man, Krypto. Psh. Come on. Krypto added this layer in the movie that made it so much more fun and, yes, unrealistic and not very grounded, but in the same way was very grounded, especially the way they used Krypto. I'm not trying to spoil a lot of things, but Krypto, I don't think this is a spoiler just because you've seen it in the trailers and stuff. Krypto acts like a dog. It is not like, you're not watching the Super Pets movie. It's not like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, comes out and starts talking. He doesn't talk. He's a dog. He acts like a dog, and it is that extra bit of goofiness and comic bookiness, if that's a word, that really adds to the flavor and the feeling of this movie. I think that is one of the reasons why I enjoyed the movie so much, was it's not afraid to, one, be serious when it needs to be, particularly in some of the political messaging in this movie, but also in using the silliness and using the comic bookiness. This is a Superman movie. Not trying to discredit the Snyder movies for those who enjoyed them, but this is not a Snyder movie. Jimmy Olsen is a fun sidekick. He's not a CIA operative for some reason, or whatever weird government agent he was. The feeling of this movie, there was this hope and optimism. The feeling of this movie really made me hopeful again, and I think that is the beauty of Superman and why I love him as a character. He truly just felt like a guy trying to do the right thing in a world that is imperfect and, stricken with war. Superman was a beacon in their world. He was a beacon of hope, of doing the right thing, and I think that's specifically a poignant message right now in our current political state. Another thing I really enjoyed was the action of this movie. This movie has some amazing action sequences that really capture not just punch, laser. It is dynamic. The camera movements in these action sequences were particularly fun and unlike something we've seen in any other Superman project to date. I really enjoyed, again, this feeling of the movie, but it has this charm to it that doesn't make it seem like is trying to copy any other formula. It does not feel like a Marvel movie. It frankly doesn't even feel like most other DC movies. If I could compare it to another movie, I'd probably compare it to the original Superman the movie. But again, it still feels directly like its own universe and style and feeling, which I really, really enjoyed. Now again, was this movie perfect? No. Are there certain things I would change? Probably. I wish they had made their own score for the movie. There's obviously this movie has its own score, but I mean specifically its own Superman theme. It still uses the original Superman theme from this 1970s Superman movie, the John Williams score, which I understand why they did. I wish they still had come up with his own motif and his own musical score, but again, that theme is also so iconic and so integral to the identity of Superman. It'd be like making a new Star Wars movie and Darth Vader's in it but the Imperial March is not in it. It's that weird thing where it's like, yes, you're doing a new thing, but you know, I think the way they did it was still very honorable and paid homage. Yeah, not homage. It pays homage to the original movie, but I still wish, I don't know, I think it would have been cool to see his own motif, but when it was used, I can't lie. I got goosebumps. Are there certain things that would change plot-wise? Maybe. I think there are certain, conveniences and basic comic book movie things that we probably could have come up with something different. Do I think it detracts from the movie? No, I think it serves its purpose, and I'm sure they could have come up with something different, but certainly not enough to where it led to disappointment. I'll talk more about that in my spoiler section. Okay, I'm soon to be getting... What the fuck? I will soon be getting into my spoiler section of the video, but before I do, I want to conclude this non-spoiler section by, if you're still watching this and you are unsure if you want to see this movie, go see this movie. It is fun. It is a blast if you let yourself have a blast with it. Do not expect, The Godfather in terms of movie quality. It's a superhero movie, but at the end of the day, it is a good superhero movie. It is a solid, I think the Rotten Tomatoes score is sitting around like at 80% somewhere, and I think that is a perfect score in terms of a critical sense of the movie. It does not try to pretend to be anything other than it is. It is a fun, true to its core superhero movie, and it is also a movie that I think anyone can watch. I don't think there are certain superhero projects that require a certain backstory and other projects to fully understand and appreciate the movie. I don't think this movie requires that. It is very straightforward. I think you could bring your grandparents to this movie and they will still enjoy it. This movie can be enjoyed by anyone. Just go see the movie. Even if you're a Snyder fan and you're going to hate watch it, go watch the movie. I think you'll honestly be surprised at how much you enjoy it. Okay, we're going to be talking about spoilers. If you have not seen the movie, do not keep watching. I will somewhere here, maybe there, I'm going to put a timestamp to where you can, fast forward and see the conclusion of this video. Go see the movie, come back and watch. Spoilers, okay? Now, Batman and Superman kiss. I got you. You think I didn't catch you? I got you. Go see the movie. There's no Batman and Superman kiss yet. Spoiler time. Let's talk about Ultraman. For those who have seen the movie and you're like, who's Ultraman again? He's the clone of Superman. Spoiler. Him being a clone was very not surprising to, I think, anyone watching the movie. Again, very basic comic book. This is the thing I was talking about earlier. A very cliche comic book plot device right there. Clone of the super person, but they're dumb and they can be controlled. Could they have come up with another villain? Probably. But I think, again, Superman is also... This is a Superman issue in general where he is so powerful where it's like, what villains can you get to stop him or to fight him that don't subtract from other villains, if that makes sense? Lex Luthor was clearly meant to be the primary villain of this movie, and he did an amazing job of doing that. So how do you get a secondary character to fight Superman that is not Lex in the, full mech suit or whatever? So the clone of Superman, blah, 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 whatever. Was it a little boring? Sure. Was it still fun? I still had fun with it. I hope they bring him back somehow. I think this is a very easy way they could introduce Bizarro in the future. Him being sucked into the portal. I mean, he's already was established as not smart. I think it would make sense if he got sucked into that black hole and somehow ended up in Bizarro world and came back. But there are lots of alternate Supermans and Superman clones. He could technically become Doomsday in some weird time shenanigans. That was one gripe I had. I was like, clone of Superman, you know, classic comic book movie. It's just evil version of main character. That's the first spoiler-y gripe I had with spoiler-y gripe. Who am I? That's one thing I would change. Another spoiler thing I wanted to talk about, Bradley Cooper Jor-El. Crazy cameo. If I had a nickel for every time Bradley Cooper showed up in one nerdy franchise movie that I didn't expect him to, I'd have 2 nickels. Which is not a lot, but it's weird it's happened twice. It was a little jarring, especially since it was the beginning of the movie, but I don't think it's the movie's fault. It's just funny that it was Bradley Cooper. I don't know who I was expecting to be Jor-El, just not him. I really enjoyed that they actually made like a Kryptonian language. I'm not sure if there's like an official Kryptonian language in the comics. I assume there is, but it's fun nonetheless. I like the twist with the message. I thought it provided a very interesting crisis of identity for Superman. And I really enjoyed how by the end of the movie, he's fully embraced his human side and his human upbringing. That was a critique, not to continue comparing it back to the Snyder movies, but that was a critique I had with the Snyder movies, was the emphasis on Superman's Kryptonian heritage, which is certainly a part of his character, but it's not the entirety of his character. In fact, I would argue it's a more minor part of his character compared to his human upbringing. I really enjoyed Superman's dynamic with the Justice Gang, as they call themselves, or rather, Guy Gardner calls them. I thought it was a great idea to sort of, one, establish that he has connections to the other superheroes of this world, but also I thought that fight with the giant alien monster in the center of the city really was a great way of highlighting the difference of Superman with other characters, and how this is a giant monster attacking the city, and his first initial way of dealing with the monster is not just kill it. It is, how do I save this thing? How do I, he said, get it into an intergalactic zoo. And I thought that was really a beautiful way of showing the difference in how he was concerned about the surrounding civilians. I love how that sort of relationship changes by the end of the movie, where the heroes end up saving Barovia. Barovia is D&D, right? Barovia. Yeah, I think Barovia is where Strahd is from. And they save the neighboring country from the invasion from Barovia. I thought that was an amazing way of showing how Superman not only inspires the people of his world, but the other heroes of the world. I want to talk about Lois Lane in this movie. I saw the movie last night, and I've been thinking about it, and I was sitting there thinking, and I realized Lois never gets directly saved by Superman in this movie. There is no her falling from a building, he catches her. There is no her being tied to a train track. There is none sort of damsel in distress situation. She is never, not that she is ever put in that situation and she escapes it herself. It is literally, she never is put in that position in the first place, which I think is a great way of treating that character and giving her agency. And in fact, it's the opposite way around. She goes and saves Superman herself in a way that she can do it. And I thought that was just fantastic writing. And I loved her characterization. I loved her sort of fears in dating Superman. She fully felt like a person, which is sad to say, more than we get out of most female characters in comic book movies. But her trepidations about dating him, the fact that she was thinking about breaking up with him, it felt very real, and it felt like very a natural way. And I loved by the end of the movie, she falls in love with him, but she doesn't fall in love with Superman like we've seen other iterations of Lois Lane, where she's just enamored with Superman, and Clark Kent is like, oh, he's the nerdy boy, and wait, what? The nerdy boy is Superman? Like, it was very much just like she falls in love with this man who clearly just is good and is trusting, and she doesn't know how to handle that. And I love how she's like an actual journalist. Bring back that. Just journalism in general. Small things that I want to shout out. I really enjoyed how Superman uses his full power set in this movie. I love how little he uses his heat vision. It is, I find in other iterations of Superman, especially live action, heat vision is used a lot. It's like one of the primary abilities he uses. It's always just like laser vision, punch, punch, more laser vision, punch, 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 and that's sort of it in terms of choreography. Specifically, I really enjoyed how much he uses his super breath in this version. He uses them multiple times to both save himself and others, and I thought it was just a creative way of showing how dynamic he is in terms of his power set, and not just that he's super strong and fast and can use laser vision. The aura farming in this movie is crazy. I think almost every character has a moment where it's just some cool shot of them doing something. Superman has several of them. Mr. Terrific, when he is entering into the Luthor camp, trying to get into the prison with Lois Lane, that whole sequence. Guy Gardner with the middle finger constructs. Lex Luthor when he breaks into Fortress of Solitude. All of these moments where it's just comically just... My favorite shot of the movie, I audibly went, oh my god, in the theater, was when Superman saves the woman in the car as the building is coming down, and he catches the building right as it's about to crash the car, and she drives out of it, and then the building crashes, and it's just all that smoke, and then she turns to look, and you just see it's just a pillow of smoke. It's just smoke fills the screen, and you just see his figure just appear out of the smoke floating. Come on. Another character I particularly want to talk about and shout out, well, there's two, but I'll start with one, is Mr. Terrific. Man, what a great choice of character to include in this movie. And specifically, what I enjoyed the most about him was how he contrasts Lex Luthor in this movie. In the comics, and specifically in DC, obviously, Lex Luthor, Mr. Terrific, and Batman are sort of the trio of super intellects in the DC universe. There's other very smart people, of course, but they're sort of the top three in terms of intellect. And what I thought was very interesting, where we know Batman's very, smart and whatever, but he's very smart in a different way. Batman is very smart when it comes to battle tactics and detective work, and obviously he's incredibly smart in terms of science and technology as well, but I think that science and technology is much more where Lex Luthor and Mr. Terrific shine, particularly. And what I loved in this movie was showing how it is not Lex Luthor's intellect that makes him evil, it is himself. Because we see Mr. Terrific, someone who's just as smart as Lex Luthor, is able to figure out everything Lex is doing, and yet his morality is not clouded. It is a perfect example of how Lex Luthor is much more of a neutral evil, and Mr. Terrific is a neutral good. And they are both arrogant, incredibly smart, hot-headed, stubborn people who are that's often the case with smart people. They have issues with being wrong. They don't like their work being sabotaged or not respected or whatever, as we see in several instances with both of them. However, the main difference between them is Lex Luthor is evil. He is an evil character, and they don't try and shy away from that in this movie. He is not evil because he has money. He is not evil because he is intelligent, as we see multiple characters with both of those characteristics in this movie. He is evil because he is evil. He is a weak man. He is incredibly self-conscious and scared, and he is a bad person to his core, while Mr. Terrific is not. He cares about people. Is he, sort of arrogant? Yeah. He's super incredibly smart. There's a lot of super incredibly smart people who are arrogant, but that doesn't cloud his judgment. It doesn't cloud his... Yes, he tends to look at the big picture of things, but he's not an evil character by any stretch of the imagination. Lex Luthor is. He's evil because he doesn't care about humanity. He only cares about himself. And they did a great job of portraying how that sort of narcissism is exacerbated by wealth and power. And man, oh man, they did a great job of showing just how petty and hateful Lex Luthor is. Lex Luthor hates Superman. It is unlike, say, the Joker, in which the Joker hates Batman, yes, but more importantly, Joker loves hating Batman. He loves getting to, create havoc in Gotham and create this sort of dynamic between him and Batman. Lex Luthor just hates Superman because Superman is everything that he wants to be but can't. Superman has the power that Lex Luthor can't give himself. And for someone who is so powerful and has so much wealth, that is devastating. And I thought Nicholas Hoult did a great job of portraying that, especially at the end of this movie when he's like sobbing and just like seething with anger. Bro, he was D1 hater. Perfect. I want to just quickly shout out the Kents in this movie were amazing. They were, what I loved about Ma and Pa Kent were the fact that they were just normal people. They felt like you literally just took, two boomers from Kansas and put them in the movie. They felt like honest, just I loved when she called the TV the box. And the way she was talking to the phone, like it just felt it felt perfectly of how you would imagine Superman was raised. And of course, Supergirl shows up, Kara. I'm quite excited for that movie, and I love the reveal that Krypto was her dog, and it made perfect sense of how Superman was treating the dog throughout the whole movie. Krypto was a great representation of like your family member's dog who you have to take care of, but they clearly didn't train their dog well, and so you have to deal with that dog's antics and being untrained. Krypto was the perfect manifestation of that. The fact that Supergirl just lets him just like slam her into the ground. She's like, oh my God, Krypto, you're so funny. Like, amazing work. I'm very excited to see her movie and where they go with that character. Spoiler section, over. Welcome back. If you skipped over that spoiler section, you should go see the movie and come back and watch that. Overall, I just want to conclude this video by saying I love this movie. It is one of my favorite superhero movies now. Might be my favorite. I don't know. I am just amazed at how well they did this movie. Is it perfect? No. Is it fun? Is it hopeful? Is it the exact sort of movie we need right now? Yes. It is a movie that is unafraid to be itself. It is unafraid to tell the story of an alien immigrant who came to this world, to this country, to make a better life for himself and to help people. And that is a particularly poignant story to be telling in this point of time. Go see this movie if you can. I would give it, I don't have an official scale yet for this channel. Let's give it 9.7 penguins out of 10. You decide what penguins mean to you. I know what they mean to me, but I'm not telling you. Thank you for watching. This is my first video on this channel. Expect more. Probably not reviews. I just happened to make this one, but expect some D&D homebrew stuff. Expect some singing covers. Expect gaming clips. I will be streaming on Twitch soon, so look out for that. Feel free to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment down below if you saw the movie. I want to hear your thoughts. If you have any suggestions for me for this channel, drop them in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.